The Pentagon is not taking any action against the drone strike that killed 10 civilians, including 7 children, in August. US, which had earlier referred to the incident as tragic mistake, has now called it a result of execution errors. Meanwhile, the UN has expressed deep concerns over the rapidly deteriorating human rights situation in the country, where it said reprisal attacks, attack on freedom of speech and activism was becoming increasingly pervasive.
The Pentagon this week said that no US military personnel would be held accountable for the August drone strike in Kabul that killed 10 civilians, including 7 children. An investigation by the Air Force Inspector General said the August 29 strike was caused by execution errors, interpreting information that supported certain viewpoints and communication breakdowns. The military had previously called the strike a tragic mistake. Pentagon spokesman John Kirby told reporters that senior commanders had made a number of recommendations to Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin about the incident, none of which included any accountability measures for specific personnel.
If the Secretary believed that in the case of the 29 August airstrike that accountability was warranted and needed, he would certainly support those kinds of efforts. As General Saeed briefed to you, and as we discovered when again the 2 combatant commanders took a look at General Saeed's report, what we saw here was a breakdown in process, and execution in procedural events, not the result of negligence, not the result of misconduct, not the result of poor leadership.
Meanwhile, the United Nations has expressed deep concern over what is unfolding in Afghanistan with every rising sun. UN said more than 100 former Afghan National Security Forces and others have been killed since the Taliban takeover in August, most at the hands of the hardline Islamist group, which is recruiting boy soldiers and quashing women's rights. Nada al-Nashif, UN Deputy High Commissioner for Human Rights, said that in addition, at least 50 suspected members of a local affiliate of Islamic State known as ISIS Khorasan, an ideological foe of the Taliban, died by hanging and beheading. In a speech to the Human Rights Council, she described Taliban rule as being marked by extrajudicial killings across the country and restrictions on women's and girls' basic rights.
We are also alarmed by continuing reports of extrajudicial killings across the country, despite the general amnesty announced by the Taliban after 15 August. Between August and November, we received credible allegations of more than 100 killings of former Afghan National Security Forces and others associated with the former government, with at least 72 of these killings attributed to the Taliban. In several cases, the bodies were publicly displayed. This has, of course, exacerbated fear among this sizable category of the population.
The UN said that families are facing severe poverty and hunger this winter amid reports of child labor, early marriages, and even the sale of children. The Taliban has not just been killing people, but it has also been displaying the bodies publicly, which has exacerbated the fear among the sizable category of the population. The statements also underlined that the Taliban decree earlier this month that failed to refer to women's and girls' rights to education, work and their freedom of movement and to participate in public life.